You know, when we play that clip of Law and Order, when we play these clips, it's really as a celebration of your work.
Oh, what are you going to show now? I'm so scared. No.
Well, what would be the one that you wouldn't want to see? I don't know if we have that.
I mean, most of them.
Yeah,
Oh, my God. I'm going to start crying. Oh, my God, this is my worst nightmare. I feel like I'm in hell.
If this is your worst nightmare, you have good nightmares.
Oh, my God, this is just... I can't. Oh, there's more? Oh, my God. Oh, my sister.
My mom says that it's all a stunt. They did it to themselves.
That's the two of you coming together.
I started out hating that clip, but now I love it. I sort of forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a movie you did with her. What's it called? Bloody Mary?
I mean, she probably has still not forgiven me for that. Yeah, it's called Bloody Mary, and I think it was 11 years ago that I shot it. And we needed girl number 2, and I said, well, my sister is an actress, and we should fly her here. And so that was Rooney's first ever job.
She becomes girl number 2.
Yeah, she's done all right for herself now, so I don't feel so bad.
Rooney, I wanted to ask you, because your Nancy is specifically different in many ways than the original Nancy was portrayed in the first film. So you could talk a little bit about those differences, how maybe that gave you some freedom of creating the character, and then, of course, doing the iconic bathtub scene.
The bathtub scene.
My favorite scene.
Yeah, I mean, our Nancy is completely different, and I think that sort of came from the fact that our movie is so much darker and that we added a lot of backstory. Yeah, that was an interesting day. You know, the rig for that scene, they did it sort of wrong. They put the placement for where the claw comes through in the wrong spot. They put it too close to me. So, and also the person who was doing it, their arm wasn't long enough, so it was actually really scary because it was coming dangerously close to where you don't want blades.
Knives.
Yeah.
Well, depending on who you are, of course.
You don't really want knives anyway.
Yeah, that's...
So it was scary.
Because I was shooting in New Mexico and I was flying up to Los Angeles to do screen tests with her, and it was very tough. It's very tough. I can't really make a judgment call on it because all I'm there is just to serve the process, which is just to help David cast this movie. And I thought she was brilliant in The Social Network. But it's a huge challenge to take on something like this. Anyway, for anybody, even an experienced actress, and she stepped up to the plate and was just brilliant. I mean, I think she's amazing in the movie.
You know, it was a very long process. I don't know if I would say I struggled. I certainly was very focused and was working very hard and was fighting very hard to get the part.
The person that we kind of put through the most paces, you know, the person that we sort of tortured the most, ended up being the person who wanted it the baddest, and I felt that's the one that I wanted. I wanted the one who wasn't getting a lot of encouragement, who must have been, you know, really depressed time and time again, you know, about having to do this and show up again and try it one more time, and I ultimately felt that that's who Solander would be. She would be the one who didn't quit.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple times where, and you know, she's such a stoic. You needed to ask her. You know, you needed to get her attention and say, okay, are you okay now? I mean, what do you do when somebody has a gag in their mouth and they're screaming at the top of their lungs and they're chained to a bed? You kind of, you know, at some point you have to release them, take the gag out of the mouth and go, is everything okay? And she's, you know, she's tough. She's like she's one of those kids who doesn't complain a lot. So, you know, it wasn't really the day of, it was more the next day when you look at her arms and her ankles and go, oh my God, are you going to be okay?
But it was Rooney herself who her co-star spoke so highly about as they walked the red carpet.
I haven't seen the film yet, but I've seen her work on the set, and this will definitely change her life radically.
She's amazing, and she's got incredible grace and poise, and I think is going to turn into a huge star.
We laughed, we had fun, I tried to help her out, she tried to help me out, we had a great time. She's fabulous, she's an incredibly lovely human being and a wonderful actress, and has done this part, she's amazing in this part.
But I can't really see anybody else playing the role other than you.
which is always the sort of the best compliment you can give.
Well, thank you very much. I will take that. But it's about a love story between two women, so it's, you know, it's also the fact that you're working opposite Rooney Mara, you get given so much, you know, so it's about the air between the two of you, I think.
And you are rooting for them at the end, which I think is a really nice, you know, you sort of, the nice thing is you forget about gender and you're just rooting for two people, which I think is another really nice thing about the movie, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, so well, look, I think if the film had been made when the screenplay was first written, I think the gender would have perhaps been more politicized simply by the, you know, the conversation that was surrounding the audience viewing it.
Have you seen the movie?
I still haven't had the chance to see it.
Are you finished version
or
of it?
No, I'm dying to see it. But I've seen some of it. I saw a lot of it early on, and but I haven't seen the final finished version of it.
Have you seen it, Rooney?
Yes, I have. I watched it last night.
So was that the first time you'd seen it? You hadn't seen it?
No, I'd seen it like in various like chopped stages and.
Do you like watching? Or
not,
are you okay
not
with
really.
watching?
I mean, I like watching maybe isolated scenes that I'm not in, or you know, I can watch some scenes that I'm in and maybe like them, but it's hard to watch it as a whole. It's hard to like not. It's hard to take yourself out of it. It's hard to not like remember what it was like on that day that you shot or what your experience. It's hard to remove yourself from the experience of it.
When you do a modeling campaign, is it hard to see yourself on the like billboards?
It's really hard.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't like to look at the Calvin Klein downtown campaign?
I don't know how I'm gonna go anywhere.
You know that?
She's everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you like it, Casey? Or you want to see yourself on billboards? And
I can't get enough. Yeah, I want to see it. See myself on a billboard.
Channing going all serious in side effects as an ex-con whose wife, Rooney Mara, starts spiraling into depression.
Damn, are you awake?
Look at how beautiful this one is.
I know, porcelain.
My God.
Michelangelo made her.
Thank you.
Rooney, Omar asks, the characters you play are mostly known for being aggressive and unconventional. Are you more drawn to playing broken types? And are we going to see you in more comedies?
More?
Yeah, I think I am more drawn to playing people who have sort of more darkness in them or who are broken. People keep asking me that today if I'm going to do a comedy. I just don't think I'm very funny.
I think you are.
You do? Maybe someday, maybe a dark comedy, but I don't know. I don't think I'd be any good at it.
Well, in your opening scene in Social Network, it's witty and it's fast, but it's also, she seems like the most put together person in the movies.
Who was the clown on the set who was making
Rooney, man, just cracking jokes non-stop. I'm
there to lighten the mood.
The rehearsals were interesting. Garth has some really fun exercises.
He does.
I think, what was our first thing we did? We had to paint portraits.
We outlined each other like on a big piece of paper, and then we had to paint the inside of how we saw each other.
Yeah. Mine was optimistic, I thought.
Yeah, you like drew like a tree, like
coming out of her, yeah.
And what did you two do getting ready tonight?
Well, I walked into the house and she was in a robe with her feet in the jacuzzi. And then I opened the champagne at some point. You didn't really drink any, but I drank a lot of it.
How much?
Well, a lot for me is a couple glasses, 2 glasses. That's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's good, but you're like stone cold.
I had like a few sips. Okay. I'm gonna drink in there. I had to pace myself.
Me and your sister anyway.
Oh, hi, how are you? I thought we were supposed to be in the middle.
Yeah, but me sit here.
No. Rooney Mara. Yeah, sorry, I know I didn't really answer the question.
No, you answered a question.
Oh,
that was. And Rooney, now that we've put you in the middle, would you tell us a little bit about how you came to the role?
Someone sent me this script. It wasn't my sister. I can't remember who it was, but I loved the script so much, and I really wanted to be in the movie. But Spike thought I was too young for the part. And then I went to his apartment and we just read, and he pretended that he was Theo, and we read for a few hours, and then when he saw me in person, he realized that I looked much older, and that
Her internal strength was ageless.
Scarlett and I were in the same room together. She was in a soundproof box with a window, but I could still see her. I'm sorry, do you have something to ask? I feel like you're not satisfied. Are you not satisfied with that answer, Rooney?
Rooney keeps grading our answers.
It's
She's
so
like,
hard.
that was
It's
an
like
okay
working
answer,
with her.
and no, that
It's
wasn't
so
okay.
intimidating. It's very hard to work with you.
How was that answer? A through F?
I thought it was great.
4 or 5. 4 or 5 is a decent answer.
It has to make you feel good, Todd, to see this finally get out to audiences here and see the reaction that you're getting everywhere. You saw it right here tonight.
It makes me feel very proud. I couldn't be happier with all the people that we put together to make this happen. And this project has a long gestation period. It really has been 15 years in the making, from when Phyllis Nage wrote the first draft of the script, the adaptation from Patricia Highsmith's novel, The Price of Salt. And then Elizabeth Carlson shepherded it over the last 4 or 5 years.
We had to wait for Rooney to be born.
We did.
Thank you, Kate.
Well, that's funny that you should say that, because I think a lot of the themes of the movie not only are the gender part of this film, but also the age difference too. And it's interesting, you know, because it's about relationships in many different ways than just the gender thing. And I think the age is part of that too. Don't you think so, Kate?
Yes, I mean, I think that a big part of it is, and what I find really beautiful in Phyllis's screenplay is that she's really brought out this undertone in the novel about the nature of heartbreak, and that really, in terms of, in order to deeply, truly love in a way that doesn't involve narcissism or projecting onto someone your object of your desire, your own sort of solipsistic obsession, that you have to go through heartbreak to maturity, you know. And I think that's really, you know, what Todd's brought out, but definitely, I mean, one of my favorite moments in the film is that last moment with Rooney, where you remember this kind of cult-like sort of picture of inexperience, and suddenly you're utterly transformed. And watching you, I mean, I fell in love with you. I mean, but it's such a beautiful, subtle kind of journey that Rooney charts.
That person in that sheet is Casey Affleck in A Ghost Story. And let me just say, I know that clip looks ridiculous when we show it out of context.
I wouldn't say that.
I think the audience was stifling laughter just to be polite to Casey, yes?
You don't have to say yes just because it's Jimmy.
But it is a real, I thought it was such an interesting movie and a really good movie, too.
Yeah, I think that I'm not in a sheet the whole time. I am in a sheet a lot of the time. And I'll tell you, if you're going to put one of your characters in a sheet most of the time, you better have a very, very good, interesting other actor in the movie. And Rooney Mara is in it, and she's amazing. So she carries the movie, really.
Those of us who are outside of all of this, that takes you inside to the business of crafting a film. We always hear about chemistry reads and getting to know you before you're cast. The two actors have to do. What did you have to do with Jude?
Nothing.
Nothing. It was just
I was personally really keen on this particular job because I know what you mean. I mean, the woman who plays my wife, Vanessa, I realized suddenly, one of the first days of filming, we had to go in and do a really domestic scene. So I got them to give me her number, and we went out for dinner, and we planned out how we had met, and we put a background and had a couple of glasses of wine, and we were like, okay, at least now we feel like we can turn up tomorrow and be like, hey, hi. But I was quite keen with you to try actually and keep a sort of distance so that the first few times we met, there really was this sense of introduction and separation in a way, because it was important to the roles, I think.
Well, then let me ask this about the movie, about side effects, without you each talking about you. I'll start with you, Jude, and just say, when you look at side effects and you're looking at Rooney, is there a moment in this, there's probably many moments, but Is there a moment in this that resonates with you personally watching her?
Yeah, many. But I mean, the film affects on that level throughout to me because it deals with sadness, as I said before,
that we have to wipe out.
That we have to wipe out. In this situation, it deals with acute sadness, so clinically depression, and it also deals with the complexity of how we kind of mask truths, and I found it incredible working across from you because I found it hard to read her, which I've realised is clearer when you watch it as an audience member, but sometimes as an actor, it kept me really on my toes, and that's an exciting feeling. I think if you settle in, you sometimes feel like the energy's dead. And I didn't ever feel that with Rooney, and I felt the same when I was watching it. It kind of kept me intrigued.
So see, you're bringing us to you. We have to try to figure you out. That's what that is. Well, we always end this show, called Popcorn, in song. Rooney knows this, although she gave me a really hard time. Did you? Wasn't it refusal? Oh, you can't. You were in the youth theater, music. I've seen you in the talented Mr. Ripley. I know about it. You could have. How many times did you sing "Hey Jude" to him on the set?
But I would sing it in my head.
There's a rider.
I would sing it in my head.
It warns everyone.
But weren't you named after that?
I was. Thank God it's a good song, huh?
It's such a
It's a great song.
Can you imagine if it was a real stinker?
Yeah, it could have been Hey,
imagine
anything
being named after like a really bad song.
It's one of my favorites.
Rooney, I can do a little beat thing for you. Like,
no, I'm not going to sing.
Oh, come on, just that slightest. I
think you should sing.
I'll do it. I could do Hey Jude.
Keep going.
Don't make it bad. Come on.
Take a sad song and make it better.
Over
There, come on, Rooney. Come on.
You don't want
This
to
is
hear
your
me
chance.
sing.
We can do that.
One phrase.
What's the refrain we can do? We can do la la la
la la la
There's
la.
no way we're gonna get
Rooney,
you
this will
to
get
do
you on
anything.
stage.
No,
This will
I want
do
to
it.
do no singing. When I do theater, it's going to be straight drama, no singing.
You told me you listened. You went to
I
Rent
love
and Les Miserables
musical theater.
a
I
billion
love it.
times, and you can't do it.
I can't.
You'll never sing. I refuse to accept it.
Not on the
and
spot.
even
Not
though
without preparation.
they've been kind of impossible to me, I'm still telling you, you need to see Side Effects. This is a good movie for right now. So thank you.
Thank
you both for being
Thank you.
here. Look, I could see it. You wanted to do it.
I do.
Felt
I'll do
that
it
you
later when I'm in
wanted
the
to do
shower or
it.
in the car.
And it would just be.
Next time I come, I'll bring a pre-recorded.
Yeah, just mime.
You have a Mary Magdalene movie with Rooney Mara, who is here many times, So I'm happy that you two are happy together. That's
great.
That's a nice thing.
She was here?
Oh, she is, and
She's here now?
She's not here now.
She's not here now.
No, we're here, but no, she isn't. But she does something you haven't done this show in this studio before, and we always end in song. And Rooney is the only one that time and time again refuses to sing for me.
Right.
And she says, I don't do it. I don't do it at home. I'm sure you hear her singing in the shower.
No, she doesn't.
She just doesn't do it.
No.
You're not going to sing?
There's not
You've
a chance.
never-
There's
you're not
nothing
gonna do?
that you can say or do.
Even if I did it with you?
No.
No, look at that.
No.
There's nothing. I'm not getting it. So you
It
and
says
Rooney
nothing's gonna happen.
become my failures.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how you want to see it, that's fine. But so you know, when we're at home, we're not singing.
Since I'll take great satisfaction in that. You and the love of your life, Rooney Mara, whenever she's here, she does everything except ever sing. So I just think it's the two of you against me.
She said to me, just this morning, she said,
Yes,
whatever Pedro says, do not sing. She said, do not give him that.
See, that's just so.
No, you give him
it's
that.
so hateful.
I
you
know.
Joaquin's the one who actually came to you and suggested you also cast Rooney. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, because we hadn't cast the part of Anu, so Joaquin was like, "Hey, how about Rooney?" And I, was sure, that'd be amazing, isn't it? Isn't she a little too big for the part? I wondered, and she was happy to do it. So
I saw Blackbird on Broadway, and I thought to myself, forget acting, this is one of the most intense human experiences I've ever seen. So for you two to go through it, what was it like?
We had some intense days. Unfortunately, Rooney makes any journey a more pleasant and, dare I say, dignified one. So.
And lucky for me, he makes everything funny, and there's lots of laughing and joking around.
Now, this is a film that obviously lives or dies on the chemistry of its two leads. I know that you were attached to the project before Todd came on, but how did you go about choosing these two as partners? Did you have them screen test together? How did that all work out?
Just prayed.
I've been watching Rooney's work from the beginning and just being so amazed by it and the differences in the performances and the characters and then I've spoken to people who've worked with her and I just was like, oh my God, I just have to experience this for myself. And I really found that these guys work and bring the same kind of serious regard to the work, the preparation, the care, the concern about detail. And so the fact that there was that chemistry, the connection between them was not a surprise to me. And a real kindness to the collaboration and the people on set.
Yeah. I feel like chemistry isn't something you can really predict. It's kind of like just a freak thing that happens. It's like catching lightning in a bottle. It either happens or it doesn't. Like, you can't create it. It's either just there or it's not. I feel.
Yeah. So it was there for the two of you from the first day you
really
met.
There. I felt it.
You felt it
Still
deep
there to this moment.
in the core.
Which co-star was the most fun to kiss?
Ooh, Rooney Mara. That's why Todd's sitting between us.
Here's a barrier.
That's why she's all, please,
covered
stop,
up.
please. Sit between us. I can't go.
I do love this. Either you wear white and you wear black, or you wear white.
Talk about chemistry.
Did you two plan this?
Plan it.
Really?
We did not plan it.
Okay.
It's
Well, it worked.
It's, see that film, Single White Female?
Yes, of course.
We cast them as great actors and we're overjoyed that they both agreed to be in the film. But there's a series of coincidences here about Martin Sheen's own background in working in the Philippines on Smoky Mountain, a landfill site there, in terms of his charitable work there over nearly a decade, and Rooney Mara with her work in Africa. So they both came with a huge amount of experience and knowledge, and that was vital to us. And I think they both give extraordinary performances.
My motivation to accept this project was threefold. It was the best part I've been offered in years. It is working with one of the best directors in the world, in Stephen Daldry, and it is working with one of the most charming actresses in the business today, in Rooney Mara. So, hey, 3 out of 3 ain't bad.
I learn everything every day. I mean, these
bad words.
How to make farting noises.
Yes, lots of things throughout the film.
How to finish people's
Sentences. There's that one, yes. And throughout the film, and there was lots of things, because they're both brilliant actors and actresses. It was amazing. It was awesome, yeah.
Question for Hugh. There was a saying many years ago that all boys wanted to grow up to be engine drivers. I'm assuming that all actors grow up wanting to play a pirate. And is it the ultimate role for an actor? Because there's nowhere that you can go all the way with it. You know, there's nothing to hold you back.
Yeah, there's no rules, for sure. I mean, I do remember watching Scaramouche. I do remember at drama school, my 3 years of drama school, we had to do compulsory fencing classes. It was a kind of traditional school, and I loved it. I mean, some of the actors complained, and what's this, what's the point? I genuinely loved it, and in my final year we had to do a movement piece, right, which we created, and I actually recreated Princess Bride, the classic sword fight, at the Mingo Montoya, you know, I have 5 fingers, prepare to die, all of that. And so honestly, I said to Rooney when we started, and I said, I can't wait for scene 85. It's like such like one massive...
Well, yeah, now I realize you've been training for it for years. And
years. So we did work it out, and then Joe said, I love this scene, let's put it up on the mast, on the gymnastics beam, basically. That was hard. But yeah, being a pirate is, come on, it's a great joy. And to be honest, if Joe had asked me to play the street sweeper, I would have said yes. But to be in a Joe Wright film playing a pirate, that's a dream come true, yeah.
You agree? Okay. Hi, my question's for Rooney. As Edith said earlier, that obviously Tiger Lily is such a strong female character. And I just wondered, how did you immerse yourself into that role, and how did you want to make Tiger Lily your own?
Well, I spent a lot of time with the stunt department. I think I was basically with the stunt department like all day, every day, and especially when Hugh got there, because I showed up for my little stunt rehearsal one day and he was already in there and like knew the whole first half of the fight. He knew all the choreography, and I was like, oh, fuck. And when we started rehearsing it together, we would be going and you just never got tired. And you'd be like, you want to go again? I'd be like, okay.
And Rooney Mara, before I go, she's such an amazing actor. She's just conveys everything you need from this woman in this. Do you have thoughts of your own on what a great actor she is?
She's absolutely great. I mean, to recognize a great actor as she is, as he is, and as Joaquin is, there's a good example for that. When you're losing it in the middle of the scene and you're lost somewhere else, you don't know how to do it. It happens sometimes. You just follow and listen, and they're gonna make you a better actor. The way I work, I feel, is this and connected to the set, to the weather. I don't know. There's something that is happening only on set that you can't prepare, that you have to live.
Yeah, getting sand in your eyes. That was probably
Yeah,
that helps.
It's a fantastic cast. I mean, at the top of the pile, you've got Rooney in this amazing performance, and she's given so many amazing performances before. What was it like working with her on this? Because she seems tailor-made, her power is so fantastic in the movie.
Yeah, she's an incredible actress and a wonderful kind of presence, and she brings so much to every role. And so, right from the beginning of knowing that she was going to be doing it, and Joaquin was going to be doing it, and Tahar was going to be doing it, I was just aware that it was all people who were very, very individually motivated to tell stories and to create these very rich three-dimensional characters, and it felt like that's what it needed to approach something like this, to approach kind of the sort of a historical piece like this in a unique way and centered way, I think.
Something I found in watching your performance specifically was that by the end of it, I was. You can hang on people's words in movies. I was hanging on your face. I was like, and I know that sounds odd, but I was watching you, and by the end, because the character you portray, it has such a steady demeanor to her that by the end, I would examine every part of your face in every frame to see where you were going, where the character was going, to trying to figure out what was going on inside of you. And it was
a lot of people in my personal life feel that way.
It was fascinating, though.
What is she thinking?
What
mood is she in?
But when you've heard, when they say if you really want, I think it's a commercial actually, if you want someone's attention, whisper. To try to break through the cacophony of all this information and everything happening, sometimes it just take it really, really subtle. Alan Arkin would always do that. He would just go under everybody else, and that's what you were drawn into. And I felt like your performance was that way because it was so, nuanced that I was hanging on every moment, and I don't know.
Thank you.
So what do you have to say about that? How did you do that?
I feel really awkward.
I mean, first of all, it's just stunning. Whether it's vegan or not, it's beautiful clothes. But yeah, the fact that no animals were harmed in the making of these beautiful pieces of clothing is something that obviously she's very passionate about, and as am I. So I mean, I'm just incredibly excited about it and very, very proud of her as well.
Good evening. When an actor watches another actor's performance, we tend to be pretty tough judges. Now, Rooney Mara's portrayal of Therese Bellevet is an out-of-the-park A+ from me, and I'll tell you why. Returning to a state that is more innocent than the one you are in is a lot tougher to do than people realise. It's very, very easy to overcook it. And Therese's journey from not quite knowing what is happening to her to wholeheartedly embracing her love for Carol is a quiet storm. It's a masterpiece of a performance. Her brushstrokes are very gentle, very clear. From the way she smokes on their first date to the changing colours in her face when their love is in bloom. From the first glimpses she steals of her to the presence of her gaze when she decides to be with Carol in the final scene. Every step is so clear, so immediate. I had the good fortune to work opposite Rooney Mara in the adaptation of David Horowitz' two-hander Blackbird, which is now titled Una. And it's very difficult material, but it was made all the easier because of her commitment, her bravery, and because she knows when to laugh. Just enough so that you can get up and do the scene one more time. I think it bears mentioning that there are many great actors that don't choose to do difficult material. She does, and I think the better for it. And it's been said that movie stars are either people that you feel very close to or people that you wish you could get close to. Your Greta Garbo's, your Faye Dunaway's. Ladies and gentlemen, Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara is just one of the most courageous actors in the way she knows how to underplay her roles. And it was a role I don't think I've ever seen her play, of a girl just kind of coming into focus to herself, you know, in the world. And you really watch her change and grow up right before your eyes.
Therese Bellevet. It's lovely.
Carol.
She's gonna get tired of you, and you're gonna wish that you would never.
You don't understand.
Oh, I do. I understand completely. You're in a trance.
I'm wide awake. I've never been more awake in my life. Why don't you leave me alone?
I've admired her work for some time. What I love about her is how different she is in everything I see her in. And then she's one of those actors where you don't see her and immediately go, oh, you know, she's that one, because she's such a chameleon.
Orange and I never spend New Year's Eve together. It's always a business function. Always clients to entertain.
I always spend New Year's alone, in crowds. I'm not alone this year.
When I heard first that Kate was on board and then later Rooney, I thought, well, how could anyone want for a better pair of actors? Because they're both committed to the complete emotionalism of the script, in the style that the script and the director and the production design and all of those people who make a film demand.
What are you thinking? Do you know how many times a day I ask you that?
Sorry. What am I thinking? I'm thinking that I'm utterly selfish and I
Don't do this. You have no idea. How would you have known?
And I should have said no to you, but I never say no. And it's selfish because I just take everything and I don't know anything and I don't know what I want. And how could I when all I ever do is say yes to everything?
Rooney knows that the camera can pick up on nuance and subtlety like no other medium. And for somebody this age to know how to calibrate the scale of articulation for this intimate medium. I think it speaks to extraordinary intelligence and innate ability.